So what is shadow work and where do you even begin with it? Hi, my name is Kristina Day, and if you are new to the channel, big welcome to you. So in this video, guys, we're going to be talking about shadow work and where to even begin with it. I know shadow work has been a big theme for my channel and it is for my work. However, I haven't recorded a video on a shadow work in a while. And if you're new to the channel, I have a whole playlist about shadow work alone. I'm gonna link it up here. But I wanted to record a new video, you know, as I grow in my own spirituality, working with consciousness. I can and I'm able to bring new perspectives to make it even more efficient. So if you are excited about this video, please give it a like and let's jump in. So how the structure is going to work, we're going to talk about what is the shadow work, why it's important to do it, where in your life shadow work may show up, like how your shadows may affect your life if you do not do your shadow work. And at the end, I will share with you a very unique and universal exercise that you can do so that you can start identifying in which areas you should start focus on to begin with your shadow work. So definitely stay till the end. So what is shadow work? Again, guys, with everything that I'm going to share with you in this video, I share it from my perspective, how it, is in my belief system. But I invite you and empower you to take what resonates and leave what doesn't. There is no one way of doing things. The most important thing is that you listen to your heart, listen to your soul, and do the things that feel the most aligned to you. So for me, working with your shadows, shadow work, is simply working with your sub and unconscious parts of yourself in order to release past conditioning, programming, traumas, suppressed emotions, and so on and so forth. Those parts of you which are affecting and influencing you on autopilot level. Now, why should you even care and bother about doing your shadow work? Your parents most probably didn't teach you and they didn't do it themselves. This is not something your teachers taught you to do in school. So why even bother? And this is something I slightly touched on in the what part. What is shadow work? And why it's so important is because there's so many layers to our psyche, to our energetical being, right, as a human, that there's most of the stuff is actually happening on unconscious level of our being. There are things that are influencing the way we think, the way we act, the way we behave and feel about ourselves, other people, and the world generally speaking, that are out of our awareness completely. This is something that we, wake up and start automatically doing or start automatically feeling like. So why it's important to do shadow work? It is important to bring your awareness to those parts of yourself that have been automatically programmed or are still residing in your energy field, such as traumas and, unhelpful patterns. It's important to release it out of your psyche and out of your being so that you can become more conscious, more aware, and instead of self-sabotaging the desires and the visions that you have for yourself and the world, you can actually create and shape your life from a conscious place of peace and presence. So in a nutshell, it's important to do shadow work so that you can become more conscious and a more clear vessel of light. Now I want to talk about why most people don't do shadow work, because I know this journey may feel lonely, and our generation is truly one of the first generations, in my opinion, my view, that has this, so to speak, privilege or opportunity to connect with one another and spread the word and actually expand our horizons of our awareness and realize, hey, there's actually, you know, so many things I don't know. And one of them is shadow work, right? No one taught us how to do it. And this is number one reason why most people don't do shadow work, is because they don't know that it exists. They don't know that there's something, that they have shadows, and they need to work with it if they want to improve their life. And, you know, that was the case for me. I was pretty much 1 year into my spiritual awakening and ego death before I even knew what spiritual awakening is. And it pretty much was half a year that I started doing shadow work, and I had no idea what shadow work is. You know, somehow divinely guided, at some point this information came up to me, but, you know, I spent some time just feeling not good enough, purposeless, why I'm such emotional wreck all of a sudden, and not understanding what's happening to me. So, you know, chances are, if you search for how to start shadow work, you already are familiar with it, what, you know, pretty much have idea what it is and what to expect. So, you know, you're one step ahead of me when I was at the beginning of that journey. So, you know, kudos to you. But why most people don't do shadow work is because, one, they don't know about it. Two, they don't know how to do it. And three, they're focused on wrong things. So, you know, with modern spirituality and so much information overload that we have nowadays, it's easier and more, so to speak, comfortable to focus on things that are light, that are, you know, let me manifest XYZ, let me hustle for my goals and go. But in reality, often it's not a matter of what we are focusing on and what do we want to achieve, but rather removing the roadblocks that are standing on our path towards our vision. And often, more than not, these roadblocks are actually our shadows. Those parts of us that are mostly in the unconscious. It's, you know, beliefs that are deeply rooted and embodied in our being, where we think that we're not worthy of love, we're not worthy of connections, we're not worthy of money or whatsoever. And because we have deeply rooted a belief of that sort, we start building, oh, I need to hustle, I need to work hard, I need to prove myself. We start creating all sorts of other false beliefs in order to run away from the core wounding. Where in reality, it's not about chasing what you envision, but rather clearing up the mess that is keeping you, kind of holding you back from achieving that and receiving your desire with ease, grace, and flow, right? So now let's spend a couple of moments to talk about where in your life your shadows may show up, or how they may affect your life without you even knowing. Because truthfully, shadow work is just one big overlayer of many things and many parts and aspects of your psyche, your energetical being, your emotional, mental, physical being, right? So shadow work is simply working with your shadows, but your shadows can be a whole across the spectrum, you know, because you're a multidimensional being. So obviously there are different aspects and, so to speak, layers to your being, and each of that layer will always have, you know, unconscious, unseen, something that is out of our awareness, right? So some of the things that I have already mentioned is, one, false belief systems, which are building up upon core wound or false perception of self, life, other people, right? So mostly limiting belief systems, they're kind of more in subconscious level. We're somewhat aware of those belief systems, but still a lot of them are unhelpful and self-sabotaging. So for example, you know, have you ever thought oh, I want to, you know, make XYZ goal at financial goal in my business or at work, or, you know, I want to ask that girl, that guy on a date, but deep down inside you instantly think, ah, I'm gonna fail. It's not even worth trying, right? So this is an example of pure self-sabotage, that you don't even try because you have past experience, and based on that you have built up false perceptions that, or false limiting belief, you know, not an empowering belief, but a limiting belief that says it's not possible for you. That belief is limiting you. Another example is inner child. Working with your inner child is so important, because most of us did not have, you know, heart-open, loving, caring, conscious parents. You know, we had the parents who did the best they knew with the tools and things they had or didn't have. So, you know, most of us have experienced some sort of trauma or lack or suppression in our childhood, which creates a lot of soul fragmentation, trauma, conditioning, you know, not just from parents, from culture, from people that are around us, and so on and so forth. So our inner child, most of the times, did not have opportunity to fully be expressed. Hence, it might affect how now you communicate with people, how you're allowed to express yourself or don't allow to express yourself, and so on and so forth. Maybe you think, you know, that, I don't know, dancing is silly, or that you're not good at dancing because somebody shamed you, or about singing, you know. So it's important to go back and work with your inner child to release that core wounding and then build a new perception how you can experience life. And obviously, guys, you know, as I describe all of this, please take notes. What is those aha moments, or what clicks in your mind that I say? Because yes, I'm gonna share some exercises with you at the end, but the way I explain, you know, some things about inner child, you already can, oh, okay, so I need to pay attention how to release the wound, or why I have been feeling about dancing in this way, right? So you can already take some takeaways or nudges how to work with your inner child in different aspects that I will be mentioning. And of course, if this video is helpful for you so far, please give it a thumbs up. I will really appreciate it, because hey, you know, I'm creating it and I hope that this is helpful to you. So the next thing, which is super important, is egoic deficiencies. So egoic deficiencies, it's, you know, ego is our human condition, and very often our ego builds false identities, how it thinks, or how it's been conditioned of how it thinks we need to behave in this world in order to survive. So some of the things that you may observe in yourself or others, for example, being arrogant, or being you know, insecure, or being people pleaser, and so on and so forth. So egoic deficiencies is simply related to your human self. So for example, let's say arrogance, you know, there's a lot of people who behave arrogant, and they show how I'm sorry, and they show how they're better than someone else, when in reality those people are not arrogant, or they're not, you know, mean asses on purpose. What's hiding behind it is a deep insecurity that they're not good enough as they are, right? So often, if we have received conditioning or trauma that we're not good enough, we either gonna be building up walls and false identity that we're so good, we're better than everyone else, so that no one can come close to us and kind of prove us or show us that we're not good enough. So we're kind of buffing ourselves up to create that, you know, wall that, look at me, how good I am. Don't you dare to tell me that I'm not good enough. The other spectrum of I'm not good enough is belittling yourself. So, you know, probably you have seen people, maybe you're one of them, who will mess up and they will start beating themselves up in front of others. or just holding themselves so little. This is also a protection mechanism to show other people, like, please don't touch me. I know that I'm so wrong. I know that I'm such a mess. I am already beating myself up. You don't need to do it. I already done it for you, right? So this is just, you know, some protection mechanism when we look at arrogance, right? Most of the people think, oh, arrogant people are just some, you know, bastards and asses, but deep down it's just a deep insecurity. And I know this video is already almost 20 minutes, so I want to keep it a bit shorter for you guys, not to overwhelm you. So a couple of more things where your shadows might show up is suppressed emotions. So if you find yourself, you know, constantly being cranky or angry or blowing up or maybe getting emotional and so on and so forth, it's just pretty much a good sign that there are some suppressed emotions that have been being bottled up for so long that now small thing may blow you up in anger or resentment or shame or whatsoever, right? So that's one, not one, or pretty much fourth or third thing that I share with you. Another one, forgiveness. It's so important to forgive ourselves, you know, our abusers, those who have done wrong to us or have hurt us, because, you know, we're the ones who are holding the resentment, who are still hurting ourselves unconsciously. And the last one I will mention is triggers and reactions, you know, and those mostly come up in relationships. And when I say relationships, I don't mean just romantic partnerships, but friendships, relationships with your parents, your co-workers, random people, you know, on a bus, somebody does something and it triggers you and you go into, again, maybe anger or some sort of emotion or belief or perception. You know, triggers and reactions is simply, it simply means that somebody is pushing button on a wound, and this is, you know, kind of triggering you and putting that into survival, fight or flight mode, you know, that animal instinct that instantly wants to protect you. So those are, in a nutshell, very, very quickly, how shadows may show up or affect your life. Obviously, there's so much more deeper that we can go into each of the aspects that I just shared with you. And hey guys, if you want me to expand more on some of the topics, leave a comment down below and I'll do my best to create a video on that. And we are almost at the last part of doing the exercise, but the last thing, really, just to sum up everything about shadow work, is when you tune into yourself and think, well, do I need to do shadow, where I have done a shadow work, where I have done enough here or not? If you tune into how you feel, and anything that doesn't feel as, you know, you're just being content, being present, being at peace with yourself, you know, that will show you where you kind of need to focus on. So just to give you an example, a lot of the people will focus on worries of the future, worries about the past, feeling insecure about themselves, judging other people, judging the world or what's happening in the world and how everyone can do or be this way and so on and so forth. And right, there's so many layers. If you, when we heal those parts of ourselves and we release, and by the way, I agree, there's many wrongdoings in our world. However, you're the only one creating your internal experience. So, you know, there might be some triggers outside and wrongdoings, but the way you react or don't react, the way you experience it with your consciousness is an indication of your inner state of being. So ideally, you know, it's a much more pleasant to live from a place of presence, peace, and alignment with your own soul, your own inner voice, rather than be pulled, affected, and triggered by all the external noise and mess, because trust me, there's a lot of it out there. So basically, if there's anything that makes you feel or think that you're not complete and whole as an individual, that probably is something that you should look at and address why it's shaping my perception about me, others, or the world in this way. So now, guys, are you ready for the exercise? And again, I'm not gonna give you very specific questions to ask yourself or whatsoever. This is actually an exercise I came up yesterday as I was preparing the notes for this video, and I was thinking what can I give people to help them really tune into different aspects and layers of their psyche, but yet keep it general, so that everyone who watches this can apply it and benefits from this. Because I can give you examples or questions to ask yourself and prompts about your inner child, but maybe some of you the inner child is not priority for you now. Maybe it's a self-sabotage or money issues and so on and so forth. So what I want you to do is, better if you can stand up together with me as you watch this video. Take a nice deep breath in into your heart. Expand your heart. And release. Another nice deep breath in, but this time breathing in into your root. So breathe in. And exhale. Coming into your centeredness. Another nice deep breath in into the root. And as you exhale and send an energy cord from the root into the earth. Exhale. Just with your intention. Sending an energy cord down from the root through the layers of the earth and plugging into crystalline core of Mother Gaia. And now as you breathe, just maintaining this connection with earth and energy flow through your spinal column of light into earth and back through your energy centers. Good. And now as you withdraw the senses from the outside world and go within, and keep the centeredness going, bring part of your consciousness and your awareness to your root chakra. So root is responsible for safety and survival, being safe on earth, money issues and those sort of things, which are really primal. That is the energy center that is responsible how it shapes your perception. So as you tune in into root and into safety, some of the questions to ask and observe how you react or what comes up. How safe do I feel in my body? What do I think about my body? What do I think, or how safe I feel on this planet? How safe I feel in my environment? How safe environment feels or doesn't feel safe? How safe do I feel about the future and that my needs are going to be met? All of those are great questions to ask yourself to tune in. And if something comes up as I ask the specific question, it's a good indication that, hey, it's good to hone in on that and explore what are my belief systems or maybe traumas or conditioning or unconscious programming in relation to safety. Second is the sacral, bringing awareness to sacral. Sacral is obviously the creativity, sexuality, but foremost it's belonging. It's, that sense of being of tribes. So we come from the root, which is individual, to the sacral, which is tribe mentality. How safe do I feel with people around me? How do I feel that I belong? Do I feel that I'm part and one with others? You know, all the I'm not good enough, judging yourself, judging others, self-criticism, all of that is stemming from sacrum. You know, most of people carry like a layer of fat around our belly buttons because most of us have been suppressed in our sexuality, creativity, and most of us don't feel that we belong, and most of us judge ourselves, right? Moving on. So this is a simple scan that we're doing, and each part of us, each energy center just represents a certain thing that we layer of our psyche. Next to solar plexus, you know, personal power. How do I see myself? What is the identity that I hold? Do I believe that everything that I desire is mine and is achievable and I'm worthy of receiving it? How those questions and prompts feel to you. Again, if you need to write it down, pause the video, write it down, tune in. Maybe you don't even need to go further, because the egoic deficiencies are the first 3 chakras. Next is the heart. How connected I feel to myself, my soul, others, this world, this universe. This is where the unconditional love resides. Do I feel it's safe to express my love, to show my love? Do I love myself unconditionally and all other living, beautiful beings and organisms? Right? So typically, heart will start to open only after egoic deficiency. The most of it was open because most of us have closed our hearts because we do not feel safe to open, to love, to show our love to others. Throat. How do I feel about expressing myself, speaking up, expressing my art, expressing my, you know, thoughts, and truly our voices is everything. Not just voices, it's self-expression. How do you feel about it? Maybe it's the way you dress. Maybe it's the way you treat other people. Do you feel free to be who you are? Express yourself in a whatever natural way comes to you. If no, well then it's good to evaluate why you don't believe that you can express yourself freely. Next, obviously, the third eye is insights and, you know, ability to tune in beyond the physicality. How connected do you feel with your spiritual gifts and your sixth sense, which is natural to all human beings? Are there any you know, healer wounds, because a lot of us have been, you know, persecuted in past lives. You know, most of, you know, people are far away from working with the third eye because they haven't addressed root and safety and belonging issues. But you know, if you have someone who have been working on yourself, you know, a lot of us are afraid to express psychic abilities because we're afraid to be cursed or that somebody will snap at us and be, you know, receive aggression, that somebody will be aggressive and so on, right? So tuning in, what is my belief systems or experiences about expressing my sixth sense or working with it. And obviously crown is, you know, our lotus and connection, the direct connection with source. And it's all about unity within oneself, unity with others, unity with the world. Again, tuning in, how unified do you feel? Again, most people are not yet at unity consciousness because they feel separated. They judge themselves and so on. So this is just a quick scan so that you can address different layers of, you know, where you need or could bring or begin your shadow work, right? Which of these kind of energy centers or areas that I just addressed felt like, ooh, this really feels contracting and I really need to look at that. So this is it for this video on what is shadow work, how to get started with the shadow work. And for those of you guys who are really committed to work with your shadows and undo, you know, most of the conditioning and programming and you would like to receive guidance. Well, okay, how do I work with my inner child or my ego, or how do I, uninstall or identify belief systems and so on? I do have a self-paced online course which is called Free Your Shadow. So it's self-paced online shadow work course that will walk you through different modalities of working with your shadow. So we address inner child, forgiveness, working with your ego. We work a lot with suppressed emotions, right? So it includes obviously all the teaching videos for each aspect we were talking through, worksheets. Sometimes there's guided meditations, practices. There's also an expert bonuses. We have quantum healer, EFT expert, an expert NLP expert who also talks about confidence. So all of that is within Free Your Shadow Work course. And I truly designed this course to be your toolbox that you can access and work with different layers of your psyche. And eventually at the end of the course, I also teach you how to access and bring yourself to peace and presence in the now, how to recharge with source. So it's truly beautiful journey. I will link the link down in the description. If you have any questions, please do let me know. But I hope that you enjoyed this video, that this was of support and service to you, and that it will kickstart your journey of shadow work. And please share it with somebody else who will also benefit from receiving support and guidance where to begin with the shadow work. All my love and thank you.